Today, we're looking at the fourth and final character online exclusive Vortex Edition for 2025, the Wrarth Warriors Set, featuring two brand new high-spec additions to the 5.5-inch Doctor Who action figure range. This one comes straight from Character Online, priced at £44.99 plus, unfortunately, if you're overseas, about the same again in shipping. I definitely recommend finding a like-minded local collector friend to split the postage costs with, or consider taking the risk and waiting till the end of the year to purchase all the sets at once. As always, the figures arrive in a plain shipper box, inside of which is the Vortex Edition window display packaging. It's simple, clean, and very collector-friendly. The cardboard insert features a perfect diorama background from the epic street battle in the episode of which the Wrarth Warriors appear, complete with a flaming car. From there, we have our two Wrarth Warriors, Constable Zreeg on the left and Sergeant Zogroth on the right. Yes, you'd be forgiven for thinking these are exactly the same figure, but Character have managed to incorporate two slightly different sculpted carapace pieces, which along with the different paint deco, subtly show that these are in fact two different characters. Each Wrarth Warrior comes complete with a detachable blaster accessory, which sits rather nicely in its tentacled, highly detailed right hand. This hand is made of slightly softer material, making weapon placement easy. The left arm includes an articulated claw, which is a super neat feature. Their eyes also make use of what's called light pipe optical trickery, whereby light shines through to give the eyes an unearthly glow, very bug-like in appearance. Unfortunately, as Character's creative director Al Dewar has explained, the effect doesn't quite work the way it's supposed to, with light travelling cleanly from one end to the other. But either way, it adds something a little unsettling to the way they look at you, which is really rather cool. Also included, and an extremely rare addition for a Character Doctor Who figure, are two display stands to help these lumbering creatures stay upright. And just to know, these Wrarth Warriors stand around 19 centimeters tall, which compared to your standard David Tennant figure is quite an imposing size difference. They do stand reasonably well on their own, but to avoid playing dominoes against your collection, I'd strongly recommend displaying them with the stands. And what display pieces these figures are. Their design is distinctive, and Character have done an incredible job realizing them at this scale. With the Vortex Edition figures molded in colored plastic, we don't lose any detail, and the dirty washes bring out the very best of the sculpt, from the creases in their green skin to the dents and wear in the carapaces. It's also worth noting that the Wrarth Warriors are probably the first entirely new sculpt for the Doctor Who line in a very long time. In fact, they first appeared essentially as space filler at the London Toy Fair in early 2024, to the point where many assumed they'd been shelved entirely. But here they are in all their glory, and what a beautiful addition to the range. After it started looking unlikely that the Wrarth Warrior would ever see an official release, we picked up a fan-made resin figure kit from Doctor Who UK on Etsy, sculpted by Callum Jones, but here it is, side by side with the final character options version. While the Wrarth Warriors appeared on television in the 2023 60th anniversary special titled The Star Beast, they actually made their first appearance in the world of Doctor Who back in the 1980 Marvel comic strip Doctor Who and the Star Beast, written by Pat Mills and John Wagner and drawn by Dave Gibbons. In the television adaptation by Russell T Davies, we start with the newly regenerated Doctor arriving in London, where he coincidentally bumps into old companion Donna Noble, who no longer remembers him, and her daughter. As usual, Donna manages to completely miss a spaceship crashing not too far away. The Doctor hails a taxi only to discover it's been driven by Donna's husband Sean. The Doctor arrives at the crash site inside a steelworks and meets Unit Scientific Advisor Shirley, who shares her findings. Unit has also located an escape pod and sends soldiers to collect it, with the Doctor tailing along. Meanwhile, Unit manages to enter the spacecraft and the soldiers are possessed by a strange light. While taking out the recycling, Donna's daughter Rose discovers a creature called the Meep hiding in the alleyway. The Meep claims that monsters are after it, and Rose hides it in the shed. Donna soon stumbles in and, mistaking the Meep for one of Rose's toys, absolutely goes mental. The Doctor arrives at the door, and the Meep tells them that the Wrarth Warriors hunt Meeps for their fur, and that when the galaxy put a stop to the practice, the Wrarth decided to hunt and exterminate the entire species. Soon the possessed Unit soldiers arrive just as the house is invaded by two Wrarth Warriors. Caught in the crossfire, the Doctor, the Nobles and the Meep escape through the aligned attics on the street, fleeing in Sean's taxi. The Doctor begins to suspect something isn't right and confronts the Wrarth Warriors, who reveal that the Meeps were once a species whose sun turned psychedelic, mutating them into conquerors bent on galactic domination. Only the Meep remains. The Meep then pulls a gun, killing the two Wrarth Warriors, and the possessed unit soldiers capture the Doctor and the others as hostages. Back at the Steelworks, it's revealed that the Meep's ship is only parked, fitted with a dagger drive system that will use London itself as fuel. Shirley rescues them, and the Doctor is determined to stop the ship from taking off. Donna follows, with her memories slowly beginning to return. The two become separated, but time is running out, and the Doctor lowers Donna's mental block. Together, they begin dismantling the ship. The Wrarth Warriors return to arrest the Meep, who is sentenced to imprisonment for 10,000 years. This release is the second this year to focus on the Starbeast story and looks excellent posed alongside the coatless 14th Doctor and villainous Meep, another extremely well-realised brand new sculpt from character. And speaking of sculpt, the Wrarth Warriors were crafted in CAD by Ed Barnett Ward, who is an incredible and consistent talent on the range. He said that his biggest challenge was actually replicating the Wrarth's weapon, and you can see more of his work on his website. In terms of articulation, the Wrarth's head can swivel up and down, left and right. The claw arm is mounted on a ball joint at the shoulder and moves up and down at the elbow, although it is slightly impeded by the shell. The gun arm is much freer. The hips swivel, the legs can move back and forward and slightly outwards at the pelvis, with both the knees and ankles able to rotate 180 degrees as well as bend back and forth. Finally, the feet, or hooves, are also articulated. So all in all, there are plenty of points to fiddle with to make sure the figure stands securely. Is this set worth getting? Absolutely. Two brand new figures based on one iconic design, perfectly realised for the Doctor Who figure line. Character have managed to keep the price consistent across the Vortex Edition exclusive so far, and they've delivered mostly very welcome and genuinely new additions to the range. We also know by now that the fifth set was bumped to 2026 and has since been revealed and released as the Tegan Jovanka and Destroyed Dalek as seen in Resurrection of the Daleks, which, let me tell you, was an incredible surprise. Given recent times, I certainly wasn't expecting another brand new sculpt, but long may it continue. If you've enjoyed this review, please make sure to like and subscribe. Until next time.